Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 52nd episode of Kouryer podcast. Today, I'm joined by Jade Darmawangsa. She's a social entrepreneur and current CEO of X8 Media Marketing Agency from Los Angeles, California. She's also an online content creator, mostly on how to grow and maneuver on the whole social media landscape, which that's the main focus of her content, mostly, which they're available on YouTube and TikTok. Now, with that small introduction out of the way, could you please give us a little introduction on how we got into this entrepreneurship scene in general, and when did this spark happen for you? Like, give us a background of yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Ramton. I'm super excited. I'm currently 19. I started making a YouTube video when I was 9 years old. So it's been over 10 years. And I'd say I first started by making doll videos, like me playing with dolls. It's quite embarrassing, honestly. And I just started to gain an audience. I remember I got my first 10 views. I was like, Mom, look at my first 10 views. And I remembered that I sold also my dolls online. So I started a little business, e commerce, early days. And, I just kept doing this for fun. There was no motivation for money, really. I mean, I did want to make a little bit of like cash. I'd be happy if I made like $10. But I just loved making videos. I loved watching YouTube. That YouTube was my start. So from 9 to around 12, I just kept making videos for fun. And I grew an audience, but very slowly. Like, I think a lot of people will think and see a bunch of creators getting a million followers immediately, but they don't know the backstory. For me, I put in 10 years, seven of which unseen. I got, maximum, I had 1,000 followers total, like across Instagram and YouTube. No one cared about me, but I like making videos and I really didn't give a shit. So that was me. And when I was in high school, I kind of went off and on. I was very inconsistent because, you're in school. But I restarted my channel. So I made a video called How to Grow on Instagram because at the time on high school years, I was super Instagram heavy. I just, I cared a lot about my feed. I grew my audience. I was like, why not share what I've learned? That video got a million views in like 2 months. And then from there, my channel just kind of took off. I gained 100,000 subscribers in under a year. And then in the past 3 years, I have over 750,000 total across YouTube and TikTok, which is insane. But, I just kind of listened to my audience like, okay, like everyone wants marketing content. Let's go deeper. My company didn't really start till like around 2.5 years ago after my social media videos took off. I started a agency out of it. It's called X8 Media. We work with some tech brands and civic platforms, but that company didn't start again till everything took off. I think it was very my start with content was very natural. It was very, based on passion. And it just became my career after 7 years of like just no one noticing me. So that's a little bit about my story on social.
Awesome. And of course, while I messaged you to come on the podcast, I did a background check on you as well on some of the past works you did. X8 Media is one of them. You co-founded it, and one other project you worked on, personal brand journey app. Could you please tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I worked on a software called Personal Brand Journey. It was a text message software where creators can text their fans. I am a co-founder of that. My dad was technical, so he built this platform, and we ran that for around a year. We're not working on that anymore for the sole reason of it's very expensive to run software business, and it was just really unprofitable. So I had to shut down that business about a year ago. But I would say that I have a huge passion with building tools and platforms for creators, and Personal Brand Journey was just one of those ventures I tried out.
Awesome. And I mean, of course, if anyone who's watched your videos or been following your content for a while, like your dad is kind of makes frequent appearances on your videos, and I assume he's like a huge inspiration for you as well. And since I think he's also works in the same area you're kind of working as well, if I'm right.
Yeah, my dad's really cool. I mean, Leon is very fun and very encouraging. We had definitely a rough patch when we were arguing about the software. Honestly, that's when we stopped doing the software because we just kept arguing. So when we stopped doing that, the relationship just got a lot better. And my dad's just really special. He started multiple companies in his life. He is also an entrepreneur, and I really am inspired by him.
Awesome. And well, Um, for anyone who's listening or don't know particularly who Jade is, like in a nutshell, I mean, of course, I said in the introduction, she's really understands the meta of the social media real well, and that's, I think, one of her strongest points. And not just a content creator, but like as a professional. And of course, one of the reasons I wanted to have her on this show is because, well, most of my episodes are basically different artists come on the podcast and they talk about their fields. But this time, we're bringing a professional from a different aspects of this whole uh, art career in a general, in whole. So we're now I want to ask you, like, could you give us, like, in general, like, of course not so specific, but in the most general, efficient way as possible, like, give us basically a brief summary of a good social media strategy for artists. Like, of course, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are like what three of the main avenues that every artist can utilize to grow. But what's your opinion? What can artists do when it comes to those three platforms?
So I also have a song. I have 3 songs out at this point. I do 10 years of violin, so I'm very familiar with behind the scenes as a marketer, but also as a musician. I know how hard it is to put out one song and not feel like anyone's listening. And I know also, like the amount of thought we put into the music and how sometimes months or years it can take to publish a single song or album. So I understand that, like, when you see people uploading every day on TikTok, that's like really weird because we're not used to that. We're used to practicing one piece. I remembered for violin, we practiced one concerto a year. Like, you work on the same piece for almost a year and a half until you compete or you perform it because you have to memorize it. You have to learn the intonation, the bowings. Like, it's insane how much different and fast social media is. So I understand how overwhelming it is. But my first advice is, in terms of content, you want to do 2 things. You want to do a lot of covers and a lot of quantity. So covers for me, it doesn't have to be a cover because if you're a singer, you don't want to just repeat Justin Bieber's song. But covers, as in hopping on trends, right? If you see a trend on TikTok, and it starts with observing your audience, right? Like, if you don't go on TikTok, there's no way you're going to know TikTok. Go spend 20 minutes following a bunch of people and just watch and have fun on it. Same with YouTube. YouTube is a little harder for discovery right now for the sole reason of the algorithmic. So I'm just going to focus on TikTok for now. I grew an audience of 300,000 people. And the only reason why I knew that was because I spent a lot of time on TikTok to understand the platform. Once you understand the trends, you can kind of recreate it. So, for a while, there was a trend by Doja Cat and people were doing covers and people were doing, remixes. And as a singer, artist, whatever you are, you want to hop all that trend because what happens is your audience becomes, whatever artist you're working with, you can almost collab with them. It's kind of like a secret way to have a famous artist on your track. It's the same reason or, way if Beyonce features Jay-Z, it's like that. It's a collab, but this time it's on TikTok. So I've seen a lot of artists cover Justin Bieber's song, Doja Cat. That's how they get discovered. One of my good friends, her name's Emily Flood. She did a cover of I Love You, Baby. That song?
Yeah,
That's that song. It was a cover. It's a
yeah,
cover, and it now has a billion streams. She's a platinum artist. And she's obviously like more than just a cover artist. Here's the thing, you don't want to be just a cover artist. I think that's the main thing that you have to figure out. You have to be a cover artist, but then switch immediately to your own work. That is the hardest thing to pull off because you don't want to be another cover band. It's the reason why the Beatles, like, you don't see them covering Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? Or like, sorry, another amazing artist. You want to be a cover band for like a solid minute and then have your other content ready. And that's where quantity comes in. You have to be comfortable with putting out like one cover, one vlog, one cover, one original track. And this is speed. So, I mean, in terms of frequency, like, I think Emily only posts like once every other day, which is a lot, but it's not a lot compared to like some creators I know that post 30 times a day on TikTok. That's how you be successful on TikTok. It's remixing, it's learning, it's being consistent, and it's not looking at your analytics too closely. You can't look at your views and judge it immediately. Wait 3 months and then judge it. I swear to God, I struggle with this so hard. Even with my song, I launched a song called Influencer. You guys should just check it out, stream it. It only has 10,000 streams, which is not a lot because like my other songs had 100,000. But I realized it took months of promotion and consistent marketing. And, you know, you have to keep going. So I would say those 2 things will make you a successful artist. And in terms of launching a song, you don't want to launch it without a body of content. I think that if you just have 2 posts and 2 covers, it's not enough of an audience to launch original tracks, I think. Like for me, I waited like a long time to launch my track. I made a lot of videos for a year to make my song Influencer. So, it also like do whatever the fuck you want. Like you don't also have to listen to anything. Like as an artist, you're an artist. A lot of the people I've seen are more successful are because they take a lot of risks with their work and it's a little bit on edge. Like Lil Nas X, as controversial as his song "Call Me by Your Name" because he like worships Satan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a like you have to understand he's a marketing genius. Like
Hmm.
whether you agree with it or disagree, he's making headlines. So I think that like you don't have to worship Satan. I do not condone that. But I do think that like you have to figure out what's you. What is unique about you? And if you have to go against the grain a little bit, that's fine. So, that's my 3 tips. I would say remix, covers, have your own work, have a lot of content. It's okay if it's bad, and figure out what makes you you.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, it sounds completely. It even kind of could work for like other fields of art, not just music. But I was wondering, in general, what do you think mostly for visual artists, not just musicians? That's initially what was like. I should have specified that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For visual art is the same thing. Like I also used all the art in the back. I used to paint. Like I took an art years for 4 or 5 years before, like at a school, actually at art school. I did oil painting, pastels, everything. And I think the issue with 2D medium right now is everything's a video. So like everything's a video. You can't just be a 2D artist. You have to be a videographer and editor. Okay, learn Premiere and Photoshop. Like you need to know all those things. The best example I have of this is a bunch of 2D animation cartoon artists. So there's one on TikTok called King Science, one other one called Nutshell. Like they base what they do. My company works with a ton of animators actually. What we need when we create art, because they're creating art that's just 3D 2D animation. They're using a TikTok trend and audio and making an animation out of it. That's literally, I mean, obviously they have their own story times and they do other things, but that's kind of like what they do. They segment the audience based on trends. So if you're a 2D artist, make, I don't know, a painting of Billie Eilish, like cover, it doesn't matter what it is, cover any art. Make a cool interpretation of Billie Eilish. Make a cool interpretation for someone else that's an influencer. Use an audio, and in the speed painting, you add that trend into it. So it doesn't matter. The same principles go on it, and especially if you are an animator, you have to be good at using trends, or at least figuring out what is currently trending and using your art to place it. And then from there, you can create your original art. I've seen some people just create original art immediately. It's a little bit, again, riskier because you're not relying on any trend. So if you're going to go that route, I would definitely collaborate with 4 or 5 artists that also, like I think it's a team effort. Like if you can collaborate with other people, if it's not maybe Billie Eilish, you can collaborate with 4 or 5 friends. I think that's where you really gain audiences because you start, like if each friend of you has 12 followers, your mom, your dad, your cousins, right? That's still like 50 people for seeing your
Yeah.
work. So you want to rely, if you don't have a huge audience, rely on your friend group, rely on your friends and family. Literally, that's what you need to rely on in the beginning. And if you don't want to go that route, just go with the cover or remix strategy.
Yep, sounds pretty good. And well, one of the other reasons I actually wanted to have a conversation with you on this episode is, I mean, for everyone who's well been paying a bit of attention, you've probably heard this word a lot recently in the titles and everything. NFT, like what is it? Non-fungible token. What is it fungi? Is it? It sounds like a mushroom. Like what is it? Like people. There's a lot of confusion in this area. And before we begin, I'm going to, in the most shortest and basic terms as way as possible, I'm going to explain what an NFT is in the art scene right now. Well, basically, NFT is the solution to the problem that is how to sell digital artwork. And it could be animation, it could be music video, it could be a gif, anything. Like and a good example that everyone uses, that even Gary Vaynerchuk uses a lot in his videos about NFTs, is that imagine like Mona Lisa, the painting of Mona Lisa in the Louvre Museum in France, in Paris. Everyone takes a picture of it. Like if you go to the room, there's phones like all over the place, like taking a picture of it. They have a picture of it, but they don't possess the painting. You know what I mean? So in a sense, it's NFTs that are basically backbone by the blockchain technology. It makes it a viable way and solution for people to have like legit viable solution for people to possess real digital artworks. So and that from that point, it will breed a lot of possible potentials for a lot of things to do. Like artists can a lot of things to do from that point on. They could, use the NFT token like as like a membership thing. They can. There's so many things that is possible. Well, I mean, I think I tried my best to give like a basic introduction. Sorry if that was a bit confusing. But with that out of the way, let's get to your opinion on how this the whole NFT thing and what it means for artists in the future.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
And what is
description.
your opinion?
NFT. Yeah, that's a pretty good description. I feel like NFT is super hard to describe, and that analogy was great. So, an NFT is a non fungible token. It's nothing more than a digital signature. It's like when you go to celebrity and you ask for a signature. That's literally what it is. It's one of a kind, one signature in the world. It's just digital. So, in terms of the future of NFTs, I mean, so I am personally on a team with this crypto organization called Seed Summit. I am doing a moderating panel this Friday. So if anyone wants to come, they're talking about how to launch a social token, and I'll be moderating in that panel. I'm also working on a few projects in my company X8 that helps creators and artists launch their own social tokens. We're launching a few of them with some of the animators I mentioned before. And when I say token, I mean NFT. NFT and tokens are kind of the same thing. We're also launching my own token as well. So I think in terms of the future, like I think that right now it's about testing and learning from my company and learning from a bunch of conferences. That's where we're currently at right now. In terms of the future, I mean, my prediction is this. I think that NFTs are nothing more than a loyalty and membership tool. Like it's a way to make money, which I think people need to honestly stay away from because there's not enough collectors. You have to understand every artist out there was going to put out work, but if there's not enough collectors, if you're not training your audience the importance, you're not going to sell your work. The issue with NFTs right now, it's reserved for rich people. It's reserved for people that have a wallet. Most people don't have a wallet. Things that are successful cannot just cater to the 1%, right? Like that's not a business. That's like a lottery. And I'm aware that some people have wallets, but for the majority, ask a Gen Zer if they have a MetaMask, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I think the issue with right now NFTs is it's really a game. It's literally a game, but a game for wealthy people. I think the future of it needs to be accessibility and how to make it digestible and easy to understand. There's a couple ways to do it. I think the first thing is, like I told you, digital signature. People need to explain to their audiences. I feel like right now people put on OpenSea and then that's it, but no one educates their audience what this is. They're like, hey, I launched an NFT just to hype it up. Your audience won't get it. Understand, if you are an artist and you're posting on Instagram that your NFT launches, ask why. What is this for? You can tell them, hey, this token currently is something that you need a wallet for. I can help you guys set up a wallet. Let's do a Zoom session together. There are like actual organizations that create a lot of trainings on like how to set up a wallet. You can provide more education. You can also say like, what is the benefits? Like you can ask your audience, hey, what do you guys want to see from me? And build a token around that. Like maybe people don't want to see your 2D art. Maybe people want to see your art plus a couple of perks that you can get them, like exclusive access to a one-on-one class or a meetup. Like ask your audience, build it with your audience. That's what I would say if you're not a celebrity. If you're a celebrity, you could do whatever the fuck you want, basically, like because you have an audience. But if you have a smaller following, you have to build it with your community. So I think the future of NFTs to make it accessible is building it with your community, educating people. And also I think the third thing is seeing it more, like I told you, that's what went back into. It's not a money grab. It's just an engagement tool. That's literally what it is. That makes money. It definitely does. But you have to see it in an engagement tool. You have to see it in a community tool because you're not going to find success unless you are a celebrity. That's the whole other thing. I think NFTs will be huge. I think that one of the things my company is working on is NFTs are a great way to crowdfund. So one of our creators at King Science, we're crowdfunding a TV show pretty soon using NFTs and blockchain. And we're gonna put out, hey guys, if you want to be a part of this idea, buy a token. And what's super cool is it's going to fund this mission together. So I feel like it's going to help creators fund their ideas. You can fund your life. If you don't want to fund a TV show, you can just fund hey, support me. I need help making this full time. So I think it's nothing more than just a giant crowdfunding tool that starts with understanding what the community wants. And if you have the luxury of just saying like, I don't need the community, I have my audience, I'm a huge influencer, then then obviously this will not go against it. But I think for the most of us, we don't have millions of followers. Maybe we have a few hundred or a few thousand, but we don't have millions. And I think there's a difference. And I think when you look at the collector to artist ratio, we're growing way faster in the artist ratio than the collector ratio. How do you get more collectors? By educating people, by creating an audience around them. So I think that's the future of it. So more nurturing on the community, because you need token buyers to have a successful token. So that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. And the weird thing is, a lot of people think that NFTs are a scam, and it's basically the same vibe as like in early 2000s, where people thought that, even companies thought that, internet was a fad, like it's not going to go anywhere. It's kind of the same vibe with NFTs right now. I mean, I think it's because of, as you said, like lack of education, like lack of understanding of the whole system. And another interesting thing is that right now NFTs is kind of blown up right now at 2021 or late 2020, but NFTs have been around since 2012. And the thing is that the thing that really helped spread the awareness of the whole concept of NFTs is, I think, as you know, the famous artist Beeple sent, I don't know if you know, by the way, Beeple, he sold one of his NFTs for $69 million. Crazy amount. Like, it was huge. It was like a, I think it's one of the key moments in the history of art in general, in human history, that sale, that auction, that his work was sold at. And the crazy thing is, right now I checked that the price of Ethereum in like converted to US dollars is like $1,852.58, which, by the way, it's important because all the NFT purchases and transactions are done in Ethereum. And like, there's a website that I will put it in the description as well, for if you're interested to check, is called foundation.app. You see like many simultaneous like NFT artwork auctions going on, where people like bidding like with different amounts of Ethereum, and it's so interesting to see like where this goes. It's like a huge, in like exciting rabbit hole for artists to see like one in a couple of years, where will NFTs go. And like another example, all right, before I finish this topic off, but another last example I could give for NFTs is that, for any of you who are listening and like you play video games, like there are skins you can buy for your guns, for your character. Those are basically NFTs, you know. Well, like, one of the factors that make NFTs interesting is the kind of like the flexing. I guess, like, when you, like, in a video game, you buy like $100 skin, you kind of basically wear it to, basically show off, to your friends. And it's kind of like a certain aspect of NFTs is that as well, to possess something really unique and valuable, like the collect, like kind of those collection vibe. Because, as you said, the most collectors are like the 1% right now, and there's not much availability for the rest of the people. But yeah, I think those are some closing thoughts I thought I should add to that. Is there anything else you want to add to this subject?
Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with the team that ran the Beeple campaign. It's called New Momo Agency. They're based in Korea, and I think that the main theme is like no one knows what they're doing. I mean, like obviously New Momo is very credible in what they're doing, and close friends with the founders and stuff. But I think at the start they were just learning as they go. So I think you can really do no wrong in this industry. It's super early. And as long as you're interested in learning about maybe launching your own NFT or being a collector or supporting someone, like I don't think it could harm anything. It's going to be the future. And yeah, I think that also with that with digital skins, that's a huge thing that I feel like is going to be such a project that my agency is also looking at as well. We're thinking to do a lot of brand collaborations also, because as a creator this is cool, but also brands can definitely pick up on this and sponsor skins, and there's just so many ways to collaborate across influencers, creators, and brands. So this is a huge thing, and I think we're super early on it. There's a couple platforms right now that are making it a bit more accessible. There's like a platform called Access. It's a marketplace kind of similar to OpenSea and Foundation, but they're accepting other currencies. You don't have to have a MetaMask. You can have US dollars. So I think there's going to be this movement of making it accessible, easy to understand, and it starts with everyone just taking interest. So, I mean, I'm good to answer a few more questions if you have any, but I wanted to add on that you can really do no harm at this
Mhm.
stage by learning.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. And well, with that out of the way, I actually had some questions from you as well. Um,
Sure.
who are your role models and inspirations that you look up to?
I look up to Michelle Phan. She's a founder and beauty YouTuber, but also a Bitcoin connoisseur and investor. She's a very, I would look her up, guys. She's like insanely successful. Asian female, like a really huge role model for me as an Asian female entrepreneur. Obviously, I look up to the OGs like Gary Vaynerchuk and Elon Musk. But I would say like I look up to the people that have a story that started from like literally nothing. Like I think Michelle Pfeiffer is so interesting because she started, not, her mom, worked at a working job, and she just didn't have a ton of money. And I think that it's just so cool to see people come from the ground up. And I also look up to most recently, um, I look up to my friends. I think that I was very fortunate enough to be around social media creators that have started from nothing and came up. So yeah, I would say like a mixture of my friend group and then Michelle Pfeiffer and obviously the OG founders of the world, like Airbnb, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff.
All right, and another thing I want to actually that was surprising to me when I did a background check, Connie, you're actually the second guest on the podcast that's really into surfing. The first one was Thierry Doison from I think I don't remember the exact episode, sorry, but you're really into surfing. Since when did you get
Yeah.
into it? Like, what was the inspiration? Tell us. And actually, just I'm sorry to interject. Um, she's gonna have a camp this August, if I'm not mistaken, for surfing as well.
Yeah, so
All right.
I make a lot of surfing content around my TikTok. And I just started surfing like less than a year ago. So I hate the ocean. I don't like swimming. So last year I was like, why not face my fear? So I like to do these things where it doesn't make sense and I'm putting myself in life risking scenarios. But I think it's so important to always go outside your comfort zone. So for me, surfing was super uncomfortable. And now, a year later, I make a lot of vlogs documenting my life in California surfing, and I'm working with some fun brands on a surf camp project. You could call me a pro surfer at this point, but no, I'm joking. I love going after what scares me the most. I'm definitely an adrenaline junkie. So
Awesome. And what's kind of projects you what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? Basically, what I'm trying to ask. Like, of course, if there's no NDA involved, that you can discuss it about. Like, what kind of project you're personal project you're working on right now?
yeah, so after X8 Media has two sides. We have X8 Media with the brand agency working on brand campaigns. We just finished up a credit card brand campaign for their influencer strategy called Extra. So that just finished up last week. On my creator side, so I have an X8 Media agency, but I also have Create, which is our creator division where we help creators monetize and grow brands. So with Create, we have three sections. We have Create Growth, Create Funding, and Create Crypto. So with Create Growth, we have some events coming about. We're trying to launch some of them in the next few months. So if you guys want to come, it's going to be. We have a Discord, so people volunteer to sign up for the event and help plan out the attendees and speakers. So Create Growth is an event that I really want to push for this year. For the funding, Create Funding, we help creators get funding. So getting initial investment on their ideas. We work with brands to fund their ideas. We're right now funding a TV show, like I told you guys, for a couple of the animators we work with. So that's another project. And the last one is the Create Crypto, which is learning about how creators can use crypto and educating people on platforms they should check out. So that's you know, there's a bunch of things I'm working on, really. Also becoming, more fluent in surfing. But my life is split between creating in X8, and I'm just very obsessed with helping the creator market, but also making my own content as well. I love the educational stuff, but I think it's sometimes super boring if you don't make other stuff that makes you creatively happy. So I just document my life on TikTok. So that's just something I do for fun.
Awesome. And I'm personally really, the way you described create crypto. You said like
Mhm.
I'm personally really looking forward to that. That sounds really interesting. And what area beside the area you're working on right now are you interested to explore and learn in the future if you had like more free time, of course?
I would say Web 3.0. I'm not technical, but I'd love to learn more about the Web 3.0, crypto, blockchain, um, legal issues. I mean, I'm not really trying to learn these things. I'm just trying to find people that are really good at this. So I'm trying to find a crypto lawyer. But in the future, I don't know. Like, I don't plan. People think like you had to plan your 5 years. Like, I don't think it's necessary. How do you know what you're going to do in 5 years? You should know your values and what you want to go before, but you don't have to have a perfect picture. So I have no idea. All I know is that I want to learn Web 3.0 and the legality of insecurity of crypto. Although it's boring, I think it's super interesting. So those are the things I'm trying to go into.
Well, I think we've come to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming by. And where can people contact you if they had a question?
Yeah, so you guys can join my Discord. I probably will link it somewhere here, but my Discord is where right now it's open, but it will close probably the next month. So it's my membership community where people ask questions about crypto creator or whatever. Um, Artists can ask how to collaborate. You can meet people. We have events there, so it's a Discord community that we started, and you guys can join it. It's free right now. You can also just hit me up on social media. It's just Jade Darmawangsa on all my Instagram social media profiles like TikTok, YouTube, everything, Twitter, Clubhouse, even. But yeah, I would say the easiest way is to hang out with me on Discord.
Awesome. And before I close that, I also need to mention that I discovered the Jade's YouTube channel like 3 months ago, and like she has a lot of like ton of free content, like useful tips and for growing on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everything, which are just super useful and helpful. Which I recommend everyone to check it out if you're interested in that area or need help in that area. And also she has courses on how to grow on TikTok and Instagram. And yes, I guess I could admit for like 10 to 15% of it, I'm saying it because I want to support the guest that's come on. Of course, I want her to succeed, but the majority of the reason I'm mentioning the courses because like actually like I'm being legit and honest right now, raw, unedited.
Okay.
There's a lot of metas to growing on social media. So I mean, if you're really serious about your side hustle or business and you want to like basically maximize the efficiency of your social media, you need to know every meta, like every nitty gritty details of that. So I think her courses are amazing. I mean, of course, like she has a lot of free content as well on YouTube. So I mean, who wouldn't like free stuff? I mean, come on. And yeah, it's basically when it comes to like succeeding better at your side hustle is about maximizing efficiency. That's it. And the courses are a great way to start with that. So just saying. And well, with that
Thank you
out of the
so
way,
much.
thank you so much for coming by. It was a real pleasure. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.
Brampton, how did you